Pooh decided that in order to survive, the group must consume one of their dearest friends. And thus, Eeyore was no more.
Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I'm Ashley Sledge.
And I'm Ken Sledge.
And let's defend horror.
Now, today we are joined by the beautiful Nickey. Nickey, how you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Hey, no, it is an honor to have you here. And we've never had Nickey on the channel before. So for those of you that don't know Nickey, we would like for you to get to know her a little bit. A horror fan from the age of 3, introduced to horror by her mother. Thank you so much, Mom.
Yes.
We love to hear that. She operates King Nickey TV, YouTube channel, all about horror all the time, as well as your Pretty Girls Love Horror YouTube is all horror. King Nickey TV is just TV in general, correct?
Okay. Yes, King Nickey TV is all genres of movie and TV minus horror. Well, I have horror on there now. I only recently separated my horror to Pretty Girls Love Horror.
Okay.
Well, and the good thing about that is we have all of Nickey's social media links and both YouTube links down in the description. So make sure you're following her on social media.
Yes.
Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channels so you can become a part of that family as well and stay up to date on everything that she's doing. So before we get started here, Nickey, would you like to tell us a little bit about the channels and what you do over there?
Yes, my King Nickey TV channel, I've had that channel for about 2.5 years. And I cover just commentary and recaps and reviews on movie and TV. Most recently, Netflix's Griselda series, the Saltburn movie, Godzilla Minus One. One of my most popular videos is Netflix movie The Strays. And I just cover a host and range of different things because I'm just that type of movie fan and TV fan. I watch a little bit of everything. And then more recently, within like the last 2 months, I decided to put all of my horror content to separate it. So I have my Pretty Girls Love Horror channel, and I did a massive Final Girls tier list ranking over there. Top 10 guilty pleasure horror movies, which the one we're defending is on that. So if you're pretty much just a fan of horror, I have my Pretty Girls Love Horror. And if you're not a fan of horror, I have my King Nickey TV channel. So just a little bit of everything for everyone.
And that's just awesome. It. You don't have to be a horror fanatic in order to love what Nickey does. So like I said, please subscribe to the channels. Please follow her on social media so you can stay up to date on all the amazing things that she has coming up for us.
Yeah. So Nickey, do you want to tell everybody what movie we are defending today?
Oh, Lord. I swear I have good taste, okay? We are defending Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Okay. All right. We are in for a treat today.
Yes. So as always, we like to start off with the Rotten Tomato scores because it's very universal on a scoring thing. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey has the lowest tomato meter so far at 3%.
Yes.
But an audience score of 50.
So there's a pretty
huge gap between the audience and the critics. And we always know the critics don't love horror anyway, especially Winnie the Pooh themed horror. So I'm not too surprised by the fact that the tomato score is a lot lower than what the audience score is.
So some of the major criticisms I read online was that it lacked creativity. The masks look like they were bought on wish.com. It takes itself way too seriously to be fun. They didn't add really any humor for a killer Winnie the Pooh bear and Piglet. Not a lot of tension, bad acting, characters have no layers, and it was made on a shoestring budget and it shows. So that's some of the things that I read.
So those are some of our criticisms that we read online. But Nickey, why does this movie mean so much to you? Why is this a movie that you were like, you know what, this is a movie that needs to be defended?
You know what? Well, the movie doesn't mean a lot to me, but I feel like I agree with every criticism you just said. Like every single one of those criticisms are 100% valid, and I completely agree. But one of the reasons I feel like I want to defend this is because I was late to the party on this movie because it was so universally hated. I was like, well, why would I waste my time? Like everyone pretty much hates it. And in general, I just kind of don't care about Winnie the Pooh, so it was just never on my radar. And when I finally watched it, I didn't even expect to finish the movie. I was like, well, everyone hates it. I'm pretty sure I wanted to just check it out. I'm like, I'm sure I'll see it for 5 minutes and turn it off. It's free on Peacock. Why not? And I actually really loved it. I laughed the whole movie. I'm pretty sure that's not intentional, but I appreciate a so bad it's good, like guilty pleasure watch. So I
Yeah.
have a really good time with this movie.
Okay.
See, and that's fair.
Yeah.
I was really turned off by how the filmmakers and social media team treated a friend of mine that gave this movie a bad review. I thought that was really weak. I thought that was really lame. He's a very good friend of ours, and they started to like block him and put shit out there so people would attack him.
Yeah.
And that to me was just like the wrong way to go about it. So that's what really turned me off to the film. But
If you're making anything, like you kind of have to have thick skin, and
Right.
it's not going to be for everybody. So you can't just attack everybody that
doesn't like your
doesn't
film.
like your
That's
stuff.
not fair.
Yeah,
It's not fair to do that.
Be really grateful to the people that love it, and for the people that hate it, like just
Ignore it.
Yeah, ignore it. Like it's not for them, I guess.
And what I will say is, whether you love or hate this movie, it was made on less than a shoestring budget. This was like a crock budget.
Yeah, and it made
over $1 million. I think almost $5 million.
Yeah. So I mean, they would be stupid not to make a sequel.
Right, and then, they accomplished something. Whether you love or hate it, you have to respect the fact the amount of money they made on this movie, and it started something. I really think it started with the mean one. With the Grinch, then that moved into Winnie the Pooh, and now we're going to be getting Steamboat Willie. We're going to be getting, all these different other type of movies.
Isn't there there's like a Peter Pan?
Peter Pan, Bambi.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that's coming out.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your favorite moments in this film?
If we could go back a second, I will say I'm pretty late on a lot of stuff around this because I try my best to avoid spoilers before I see stuff. So I did know the general consensus was everyone like really hated it. But recently I did see some stuff with like somebody that I watched. I don't know if you guys you guys are familiar. Y'all did an In Defense with him, Cody Leach. It was some real crazy stuff with the filmmakers and his opinion. Some of the actors have come out and say how poorly they were treated. So yeah, I definitely don't like any of that stuff. And I just feel like that's the beauty of movies. We all watch the same thing and walk away with completely different experiences. Everybody will not like what you put out. So yeah, that stuff is really kind of disgusting. But I'm sorry, what was the question? I just wanted to address that when you guys were saying about the
No, you're fine. You're fine because you're totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So what were some of your favorite moments from the film?
Well, some of my favorite moments, first of all, when I first sat down to watch this and that illustrated animation intro, I was kind of like, oh, this isn't so bad. What is everyone talking about? Like, does it feel like it's going to be groundbreaking? No. But I thought that was pretty like an interesting, I like that voiceover actor that does that little part. And as someone who's not, I grew up a pretty warped child. I wasn't into like kid stuff. I've never seen Winnie the Pooh. I'm not attached to it. So I like that introduction of like, hey, we have these little creatures and they have this friend, and then it kind of takes a dark turn, which I'm pretty sure that's not the real story, but how they illustrated at the top. I really liked that intro. I thought it was pretty unique, and especially since they're playing on a childhood story to kind of have that little illustration at the top. I like that.
Yeah, that was actually one of my positives too, was the opening. I thought looked really good.
Yeah. I felt the same way when we first saw it, because we saw it when it came out, and I was like, oh, this might be dope.
Yeah.
This might be cool. So, we talked about some of your favorite moments in the film, but as horror fans, obviously, we love the kills.
Yes.
We like to, the kills is what we're all about. Is there a kill in this movie that stood out to you as being like a little bit better than the other ones? Did you have a favorite kill from the film?
Yes, and it is the moment where I'm like, how do people not have a good time with this movie? There is a moment where the girl who manages to be the most insufferable amongst a group of insufferable characters gets her head like smashed with a car rolling slowly over her head, and her eyeball pops out. That was kind of fun. Like, I thought that was pretty good, and she's like screaming the whole time, and I really like that kill. That had to be my favorite little like moment and kill all together.
Yeah.
Some of the practical stuff they did in this film was great. You do like to see them staying practical with stuff.
Especially when you have such a small budget and you're doing this stuff practically. It definitely does.
That does stand out.
It does stand out for sure.
Yeah.
So is there like a favorite one-liner or a quote or something that they mentioned that kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, like your favorite quote from the film.
Yeah, the script is pretty abysmal. Okay, like we already know, like this is a strange in defense. The movie is bad, but it's like it's fun. But
Yes.
there is a line slash moment where it's towards the end and they play this triumphant music and Christopher Robin comes in and he's like, F you, man. Like he feels like he's really doing something, like he ain't nothing. But the way they play it up, he feels like, yeah, like I'm coming in to save the day. I love that because it's so stupid. Like he's not doing anything at all.
But see, and that's the thing. Like you were talking about how this is a crazy in defense of because you know it's a bad movie, but that's just the thing. It may be a bad movie. We've done in defensive on a lot of bad movies, but the fact is, it is a guilty pleasure for you because you do get an enjoyment out of it. Not every movie has to be a blockbuster Academy winning movie. You know, we do need some mindless, you know, just watching people get you know, slashed and gashed, those type of things. So I completely understand why you're defending this movie. Now, as always, there's no such thing as a perfect movie. So we do got to ask, what would some of your criticisms be of the film?
This is one of those movies that everything that's terrible is why I like it. Like so much is so nonsensical, and even like they said, when you were talking about the criticisms at the top, the acting, but that's part of like what I love. The line delivery is so ridiculous. But some like of my major like real criticisms where I'm like, you know what? Y'all could have really done something with this. Like, I feel like there was a real opportunity here. It kind of reminds me of, did y'all ever heard of that movie where it's like a killer tire?
Yeah, Rubber.
There are movies that are just so absurd in ideas, but it can actually work. First of all, if you market it to the right audience that's going to like the absurdity. And with this film, I wish they would not have taken themselves too seriously. Which is one of the big criticisms that a lot of people have said. I have fun with this movie and I laugh, but it's unintentional. I'm laughing at them, not with them. And it was just such a missed opportunity to take something and make it more campy in tone. I'm thinking of when you're talking about a killer Winnie the Pooh, I'm thinking your tone should be more like Return of the Night of the Living Dead or Demons, the Italian horror movie Demons. Like make it poke fun at itself. Like give us a movie that tells us, you know, just how absurd this is. And I also feel like they missed the mark on using the Winnie the Pooh brand. We just got men in Timbs with masks on. We could have used some, make Piglet and Pooh talk throughout the movie. Have them say some fun, like Winnie the Pooh-ish lines. Like I'm just like, y'all, if you're gonna use the property, use it. Don't just. It kind of reminds me of. It was a Nicolas Cage movie that came out recently where he's playing Nicolas Cage, and you don't just say, "Oh, we're going to just use the no." Have him play up the Nicolas Cage character. So if you're going to use Winnie the Pooh, play up the Winnie the Pooh part of. We could have put any killer in this movie.
Right. And that was my biggest thing is like, I was hoping, you know, Winnie the Pooh, oh, bother.
I was just going to say, oh, bother.
I was hoping that like.
Or Piglet, like, you know, he's always scared.
Just imagine Winnie the Pooh cutting someone's throat and then seeing the blood get on him and being like, oh, bother.
Yeah.
You know, like something
and,
like that.
His belly hanging out and just like a little red shirt.
Yeah.
Like, they could have made it really fun.
So much. And I think that when we did our most anticipated movies of the year that year, that was on my list. It was high on my list. Really? Too, because I love a fun, campy slasher. And that's really what I was like. I hate to keep going back to it, but I feel like The Mean One. Do I think The Mean One is a great movie? No, it's not. But it's a killer Grinch. You know, it's a killer Mr. Grinch. And they knew what they were. Yeah.
They couldn't actually.
They couldn't say that. They couldn't say the name. But they knew what they were doing in that movie. They had fun. They were laughing. They made jokes about it. It's that mean old Mr. Fitch.
Yeah.
Beer for Fitch.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Like they knew what they were doing and they had so much fun with it. And I was really hoping that was the direction we were going to take with this because even though I wouldn't say The Mean One is a fantastic movie, I had such a fun time watching it.
Yeah, it was
like, I wasn't bored. I wasn't irritated. I was laughing.
When is this going to be over?
Yeah, I was having a very good time. And that's what I was really hoping for with this one.
Yeah, me too.
So are you... They missed it with that.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
with the
so-
Eeyore, like I'm not familiar with the characters, but I heard a lot of people talk about the Eeyore character and how funny that is that that's the one they chose to eat first. Why didn't we exploit that? We could have shown that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor depressed Eeyore.
You know, they're eating Eeyore. You could have had Pooh making the total, another night of eating ass. You know, like something, you know, like something goofy like that. I mean, like that joke writes itself.
Yeah.
You know, like it really writes itself. And yeah, it's stupid, but that's what it's supposed to be.
You're right.
It's supposed to be goofy
because
and silly.
You have a killer Pooh Bear and a killer Piglet.
Right.
Like it's supposed to be silly.
You're not supposed to take Winnie the Pooh and make him into the greatest slasher, Jason Voorhees.
Right.
Like, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take Winnie the Pooh
the greatest
and have
slasher
him be Winnie the Pooh.
The greatest slasher, Michael Myers, you mean?
Jason Voorhees.
Right.
So
are you excited for the sequel?
I gotta be honest with you. I feel the same way I felt when this one was announced. I could care less.
Yeah.
I feel like this was, I mean, like I said, it's technically a terrible movie. And I feel like it's just lightning in a bottle to have so much fun with it. And especially because I had no expectations. I've heard a lot of people when it was just announced, you're destroying our childhoods. Like I have no tie to it. So when you talk about a sequel,
yeah,
I mean, obviously from the reception they've given to people's response, they're not going to take any criticisms and like try to, go in and do a better job. I mean, some sequels, some originals suck and then you take the criticism and like that movie Ouija, I hate the original, but the sequel was great. I doubt they're going to go that route. I honestly could care less about Killer Bambi. I could care less.
Yeah, I'm just curious about,
I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I'm
just curious to see how they're gonna go about with the Killer Bambi. So
just because of the way they treated a friend of ours, I'm not gonna pay for it, but I will watch it when it's streaming for free.
Yeah,
but from watching the trailer, it looks like they're really, really doubling down on the seriousness.
It looks darker, doesn't it?
It looks way darker, way scary, and I'm like, that you're going the wrong direction.
The opposite
You're going the wrong way of what we wanted.
Have you listened to anything that people are saying?
Right.
Like, listen to
they're
us.
not listening.
They're not.
So we always, when we do a ranking of our films that we want to defend, we always rank them on a skull count. Now, since there's two of us, usually we do it out of 5, but since there's 2 of us now, we're going to do it out of 10. So what would your ranking of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey be? 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest.
Okay, out of 10, I would say a 5. As for me, a 5 out of 10 is an average, enjoyable, enough way to kill time. I feel like this is just that, and it's hard, honestly, to really rank it on a scale because it's like I said, it's technically a bad movie. But I feel like if you just walk in, and maybe not one of those like, elevated, highbrow horror fans who are like, this isn't a real film. But if you just go in and you like a really absurd, fun, get drunk with your friends, take a shot every time Christopher says, please.
Please. We used to be friends. Why are you doing this? Please. Please. I'm begging. Please.
Like, I feel like a solid 5. It's a really good time. It is fastly becoming one of my favorite guilty pleasure watches. I've literally seen it like 17 times at this point.
And that's the thing. Art is subjective. Yeah. And I hope there's an audience for any movie that gets made, even if it's not for Ashley and I.
Yeah, I mean, I would never make someone feel bad for liking something I didn't like because there's a lot of things that are bad that I like and other people don't. So
we have defended Halloween Resurrection for Ashley.
We have, yes. And that's one of my guilty pleasures. Right. And I get shit for that all the time.
And we both love that movie. Yeah. I think that movie's fun. That movie is what Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey should have been. A mindless time that is fun. Yeah. You're having fun with the characters. Like, I don't know. You get Buster Rhymes saying Dangertainment, baby. So come on, I'm all in for the Dangertainment. So yeah, again, I will watch the sequel once it's streaming for free. I will not give money to people that treat my friends so shittily, but I will give it a chance. I hope that they rectify what they did with the first one.
Yeah, for sure. So are you?
And I will say, I might not have liked this if I had to pay for it. I feel like that may have played a part. Yeah. I cannot imagine going to the movie theaters and paying $100 to, like, I'm exaggerating, but movies are expensive. Like, I cannot.
If you get candy and popcorn.
Yeah, I really feel like, honestly, that would have affected my enjoyment. The fact that I just turned it on free on Peacock, I definitely feel like that added to my enjoyment.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
what's your ranking?
I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 10. Like I said, I really care for I think the opening animation was really cool and how they made that story. And it's a unique idea to take this childhood characters and make them killers. But yeah, I just wish it would have been more fun. Like that's my whole thing.
I'm going to be the depressed Eeyore here, and I'm going to give it the lowest score. I'm going to give it a 2. I'm the lowest score out of us. And again, just because of the fact that it could have been fun and it wasn't. My expectations were subverted. I was actually hoping from watching the trailers that all this stuff was inside Christopher Robin's head and he was actually
Like
the killer.
it was like a
that's what I was hoping
psychological.
for.
That would have been pretty cool.
You know, and having fun with it. Like it's the Pooh part of him that's coming out. It's the Eeyore part of him that's coming out.
Yeah.
It's it's these things that
Like
are coming out of him.
These different
Personalities. Yeah,
like the depressed one.
And when you see him walking in finally with the reveal and him walking in saying, "Oh, bother,"
yeah,
with the sledgehammer, like that would have been sick.
That would have been.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, so say you have 30 seconds to defend this to someone that hasn't seen it yet or someone that has seen it and doesn't care for it. What would you say to them to give it a chance?
I would say this is not the movie that is for everyone. But if you're the type of movie fan or horror fan that can appreciate just a really absurd, so bad it's good, laughing at the movie, if you like absurdity, movies like Luther the Greek and things like that, this is definitely the movie to give a second chance to, or to just give a chance to if you haven't watched it because of all of the criticism. Definitely, I mean, when you talk about a killer Winnie the Pooh, go into it knowing it's not going to be anything groundbreaking. It's not going to be the second coming of John Carpenter, but it will be an entertaining enough way to kill time and enjoy some absurdity and some blood and psychotic mania going on screen if you just have an open mind and know what you're going in for.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is fair enough. So I know I said it at the beginning, guys, but we're at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, don't forget we have all of Nikki's social media links as well as her YouTube links down in the description. So make sure you're clicking those links, following her on social media, and subscribing to the YouTube channels and becoming a part of her family as well. And also let us know in the comments, what are your thoughts on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? Are you excited for Blood and Honey 2? What are your expectations? And what is some things you do not want to see in the sequel? So Nikki, please don't go anywhere. We got a couple more questions for you. And everybody else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps to build our channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror.
Stay who you are.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys.